guys, and welcome to today's video. Today is going to be a little bit of a weird one because it's kind of a first impression, but it's not. Basically, I'm going to be doing a video on, when I'll be able to get it out, the Dark Magic palette from the Jaclyn Hill vault. I did a video on the Armed and Gorgeous palette, which was this one here, which is like really sort of orangey, greeny, very natural vibe sort of palette, and that was the only one I did out of the entire vault. I got along with it absolutely fine. I really couldn't see what all of the fuss was about it skipping in pigmentation and even the good ones being bad, but I got a lot of comments on that video to do another palette, and a lot of you said to do the Dark Magic palette, which is this one here, full of cool tones, greens and blues, very popular at the moment. Good old green is like the colour of the year. We're all going to get bored of it by June, you can just tell. But basically I filmed a look with this yesterday, so I have actually touched this palette already, but yesterday was the first time me using it. My lighting was a bit funny. I wasn't really loving the lighting. It was just a little bit rushed and I just didn't really like it, and I just didn't really want to put out the video for the sake of putting out a video. I wanted to make it something I was proud of. So I've decided to refilm it, and even though it's not the first impression or anything like that, I'm just going to film it again because I actually really liked the look that I created. Just so you know, first impressions, I had no problems with it. I already know how I feel about this palette. I already know that I really like it, so I thought I'd just recreate the look that I created because I really liked that as well, and hopefully you enjoy it too. So all I've got on at the moment is eyebrows. It does have a little bit of fallout, and I usually, if I'm testing a new palette, I do like to do foundation after. Typically on a day-to-day basis I'll do foundation first then eyeshadow, but if a palette does have fallout I will try to avoid like concealing under the eyes until after I've done the eyeshadow. I'll do everything exactly the same as I did yesterday, including doing foundation afterwards, just because it does have a little bit of fallout. So yeah, let's just crack on. I never usually take primer on my eyes unless I want it to last all night, but I don't because I'm just at home tonight, so I'm just going to kind of just lay this concealer down. This is the Primark My Perfect Colour concealer, my favourite concealer. It's so thin but got just the right amount of pigment just to kind of cancel out any redness and darkness. This is a look. This is an absolute look. And I'm trying to blend that concealer out just to kind of cover up my veininess on my eyelids. That's better. It's just cancelled out all the redness on my eyelids now. Yay. So the first shade I'm going to go into is the shade Poof with this big fluffy flat brush, and just set all that concealer down. In my first video, like I said, when I first tried this out the other day, I just wanted to try pretty much like a good percentage of all the shades in the palette. You don't necessarily have to set down your eyeshadow. It's like become a thing not to nowadays. I'm then going to take the shade Shush, or Shh, like the sound Shh. I want to just take that on a big fluffy brush and just kind of blend this very roughly all over the crease of my lid. I don't really want this to be a standout colour, I just want it to be there just to kind of give the eyelid some depth before we start layering colour on. I do want to make sure this is really blended, so like I want to make it barely even visible on my lid, so I'm really taking my time just to blend out the edges, just to kind of give a colour across, like a wash of colour across my lid, but not enough to really sort of notice it too much. So I'm taking barely anything on my brush each time and just really taking my time to blend out the edges, just to look like really smoky and like a wash of colour like it does now. Like I really like that. Blended out fine. I have no problems with that shade either. I'm then going to take this shade here called Potion, which is kind of like a very mossy mould sort of green. I actually really like it. It's like a borderline sort of khaki green, but more of like a moss green. Really like it. And I'm trying to put this in the crease, but kind of trying to keep it very petite because I want to do a cut crease later. I want this to be like the prominent green in the crease, if that makes any sense. So I want to really take my time building up the shade and getting my hair attached to the brush apparently. I'm trying to take that big fluffy brush that I was using for Shh, or Shush, however you say it, and I'm trying to blend the top half of that colour. I'm trying to avoid the crease where I've laid most of the pigment down, but I don't want that harsh line on the top half because I want a nice like fade upwards. So as I'm going in with the pigment, I'm just every now and again going in with a big fluffy brush, nothing on it, and just merging it upwards, like so. Okay, Okay, so now that that's blended out, I'm not too worried about the outer corners because we'll clean that up with foundation and everything in a minute. But this is kind of like the gradient I wanted. It looks really dramatic and high now, but I've actually got quite like a deep set like crease, so when I do a cut crease it has to go a little bit high, otherwise the transfer is high. It's just like a whole thing. But for the outer corner I'm going to go in with the shade Nice Job, which is like the in-between of this shade, like sorry, the green and the blue. It's like an in-between of that. It's like a teal colour. So I'm just going to take it on this petite fluffy brush and just work it on the outer corner. Like I said, I'm not bothered about it getting messy out here because we'll clean this up and then like a wing, so I'm not bothered about how messy it gets. I just don't want to drag it in too much, if that makes any sense. I'd rather drag it out than in. And I'm just literally bit by bit patting on the shadow, kind of taking it up into the crease a little bit but not all the way in, just kind of keeping it like a strip almost. Again, just grazing the edges just so it's nice and blended. I'm going to go back in with that fluffy brush with nothing on it, just grazing the edges just so there's no harsh lines on the top of the eye, just because that bit won't be sort of cut creased, so I don't want to make that really messy. So just really carefully just kind of like patting and sweeping just to blend it together. And bear with me because I know this looks really crazy at the moment, like it just looks like I've just thrown up on my eyes with greens, but I'm going to go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter concealer. This is like a really full coverage concealer. I'm just going to cut my crease with a flat shader brush and this concealer. And like I said a minute ago, I've got quite a deep set crease, so what I like to do is just look straight forward just as normal and then kind of look down again. And as you can see, there's like a little line just there, and I'm going to try and meet up that crease with that line because that's where when I look straight forward normally it'll transfer in a minute. So I just want to get that perfect. So as you can see, it's got quite further up than what I thought my crease was at. It's like a good ½ centimetre higher, so I'm going to work to that one. And as I come to the outer corner of the crease, I don't want to take it all the way to the outer corner, so I'm just kind of feathering whatever's left on the brush to the outer corner, so that way I can go over it again and have the depth there of that teal, but I'm not covering it up and having like a whole crescent on my eye, if that makes any sense. So I'm just feathering the concealer out so that I can blend a shadow on top of it in a minute. Okay, now I've cut the crease. Like I said, it's very messy, so please do ignore it. I know there's people better than me at doing this, but I am like a beginner at cut creases, but I'm trying, okay, I'm trying. I'm going to put the shade Power Cut, which is this like silvery colour, I said that really funny then, silvery colour on the inner third of my eye, so going from the inner tear duct right here, and I'm going to stop it about here, so like the inner third, kind of halfway, but not quite halfway. I'm going to try wetting it with some Mario Badescu spray. It's just this one here. I didn't actually try wetting them yesterday, so I just want to see what they're like wet. Ooh, okay. Definitely increases with pigmentation when they're wet. Note to self. Yeah, it's definitely looking more foiled as I've wet it. And then I'm going to use this shade here called Diversion, which is like a taupey version of silver. As you can just see there, it's like not as silver as this one. It's slightly more taupe. And I'm trying to take this on this space here where I've kind of got nothing but concealer and just like a little bit of a messy thing going on. I'm just taking that shade all over that area, just kind of depositing it right there. I don't want to wet this shade either actually because I don't want it to be too prominent on the eyes. And then kind of like over the top of that taupey Diversion shade, I'm just going to join this green up with all of this silver with the shade Trickery, which is this metallic lovely green here. It's like a lovely foresty emeraldy green, actually more of a forest green. It's got like an emeraldy reflect, but the base of it is like a forest green. So I'm just going to take it and kind of wiggle it between the two shades like so. Just so there's like a really nice blending, like graduation from like silvery browned taupe to green. And then with a petite brush, just to make sure this is all nice and pigmented, I'm going to go back into that inside job and literally just place this back where it was in the very beginning and just blend again into that sort of metallic-y green trickery shade that we put down. Just want to make sure it's all nice and blended in nicely. And then with nothing on my fluffy brush, I'm just going to graze, literally just graze the top of all of these colours to make sure it's not blocky. And I think that's all I want to do as far as the top lid's concerned with this palette. I think I don't want to put any more shades on it because I really like how it's looking so far. But what I will do outside of the palette is apply one of these Urban Decay heavy metal, like what they called glitter eyeliners. Yeah, glitter eyeliners. I've got mine in the shade Distortion. I've never owned one of these before until now because I didn't really know what they're like, but oh my god, I've used it already once and they're amazing. So I'm just going to apply this on the crease, like where I cut the crease, and just kind of any remnants, just kind of going all over that silvery bit. I don't want to put it on the outer corner, but I just want to make it really prominent in the crease. And this colour Distortion has kind of got like a bluey greeny like pink reflex, so I quite like it because it kind of goes with the whole look. I think that's just really added to the look. I don't know about you, but I really like that. Just while I keep my lids kind of flat, like I said, I'm just going to clean up any fallout that fell off. Like I know there's a lot of fallout, like look at all that. So I would say if you're using this palette, just beware that it does get a lot of fallout and to do your eyes before your base because you're going to have pretty dark under eyes if you do. Okay, so onto face, I'm going to go into the Becca First Light Priming Filter. This is like, it came with, I've got a bit on the back of my hand there. It came with one of my Becca highlights, like in a Christmas set or something like that. So I haven't got the full size, but I'm actually really enjoying this. I've only used it a handful of times. It smells like lemons, which I kind of like because it's not like overpowering. So it smells really nice and it feels really great on the skin. And then for foundation, I'm going to use the Loreal Infallible Pro Glow Foundation. I've been using this lately and I'm actually falling in love with it. It's so lightweight and so kind of like medium coverage, but so glowy and just looks so natural. I'm just going to use my Eco Tools sponge just to pounce this all into my face to get a nice base. Look how beautiful that foundation looks. Like look how glowy and delicious that looks. I absolutely love it. As a dry skin person, I'd highly recommend this. I think it's about £10, but you can only get it on Amazon. That's like the downside to it. For some reason you just cannot get it in Boots and Superdrug unless they've just recently brought it in. But I had to buy this on Amazon because I couldn't find it anywhere else. But at least they do it on Amazon. It's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. For concealer, I'm just using the My Perfect Colour Concealer by Primark. Just a little bit under my eyes, just to get any darkness, just like so, and around my hormonal areas. And a little bit of my cheek, because recently I've been suffering redness on my left cheek for some ungodly, unknown reason. And then just blending that out with my sponge again. And then just quickly to set my face, I'm going to go into the Mercier powder, and just with a little tapered brush, just quickly sand my eyes. It's kind of like the only part of my face I've been really setting at the moment, just so that there's no creases. I'm really into like not setting all of my face, or if anything just giving it a really light wash of powder, just so everything merges nicely. But yeah, really into setting less of my face nowadays. Like I said, I'm just giving my face a very light wash of powder. Like there is literally nothing on this brush. I'm just patting in just literally like the smallest amount of powder, just to kind of set down the dewiness and the tackiness so that I can use a powder bronzer in a second. I'm then going to take the holiday edition of the Smashbox powders. I think they're all permanent, but in like a limited edition format. I'm going to take the shade, which one is this? Bronze. What an original name for a powder. I'm going to take the shade Bronze on a little angled brush and just bronzer my cheeks a little bit. Oh, what a beautiful colour. That is a really nice colour. And that blends, oh my god, that blends seamlessly. Oh, I'm so happy. I didn't try this out the other day and now I'm really happy. I only tried out the highlighter just because I was keen to see what the highlighter looked like, but I didn't actually try out these powders. But oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I'm also going to take my relatively new Clinique Pop blush in Ginger Pop. It's an absolutely beautiful shade. Maybe it's a little bit too pink for a green-eyed look, but I'm just going to go gently in with my Jaclyn Hill JH06 brush with Morphe. It's like my favourite blush brush ever at the moment. And I'm just going to fluff this onto my cheeks. It's such a pretty, pretty shade. I feel like it's not really picking up on camera, but it just looks so natural, like a really natural flush on the cheeks. I really, really like it. I'm then going to go back into this palette and use this highlighter that I spoke about a second ago. This is the shade Crank It Up Champs. And I'm just going to take a little fan brush and just feather this on the top of the cheekbones. Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm not going to lie, Smashbox highlights do have quite a bit of kickback, but the payoff is, I mean, I hope this is picking up on camera because the payoff is just so beautiful. It just meshes in with the skin and just looks wet. It's stunning. Absolutely stunning. I'm then going to go back into this palette and sort out my lower lash line. So I'm going to bring you a little bit closer again. I'm just taking that colour and blending that on my lower lash line to sort of join up with that green a little bit. I'm also taking Inside Job right there on a little pencil brush and just smudging it on the outer corner of my eye, again kind of matching up with the wing. So I hope this lighting is okay. It does look very dark on camera, so apologies if it is. And then I'm going to take this highlighter down here, which is called Pearls Gone Wild, on a little inner corner brush, and just inner corner brush like a pencil brush, and plop this on my inner corners for a little bit of highlight there. I was going to do winged liner, but I'm actually deciding against it, I think, just because we've got this very harsh like shadow line that I'm thinking it doesn't actually need liner. So I might just put off the liner because I don't think it needs it. But I am going to put on some lashes. These are the Eyelure 3-dimensional number 119. I don't really know, they just look pretty and I need to use them because I haven't used them before. So I'm going to pop these lashes on and I'll be right back. Okay, so lashes on, and I put some mascara as well, just the one I'm using, which is just like a MAC one. It's just called a MAC mascara. I'm not really too sure what it is, but it's just a mascara I'm using at the moment. So this is what it is with lashes. I'm going to finish off this look with a Colourpop Lippy Luxe lipstick in the shade Quickie. This is like a really peachy nude and I really, really like it. So yeah, that is it. That is the completed look with the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Dark Magic palette. I actually really, really like this. I don't see any problems with the blending. I think this is a really, really beautiful, well, I think this is a beautiful look because I've done it obviously, but I had no problems with this palette. I used 7 out of 10 shades, so I feel like I got a pretty good, like, you know, nearly 2/3 of the palette done and dusted. I only didn't use these 3 here, so I feel like there's nothing wrong with this palette either, and I really, really like the look I've created with it. So again, 2 palettes down, I feel like there's nothing wrong with them. If you do want another video of the other 2, I'm more than happy to do that. I think instead though, I might just do a Valentine's Day look incorporating these 2, because one's quite pinky red toned and one's quite like pinky purple toned, so I think I might just incorporate this in a Valentine's Day look instead, if that's okay with you, instead of giving it a dedicated video each. But I really, really like this look, and you guys requested to see the Dark Magic palette in action and what I would do with it, and this is what I've done. I've gone for green, the most mainstream colour at the moment for 2019. 2019, the year of green. Love it. So yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this video today, please do not forget to hit the thumbs up button. I really, really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please do hit the subscribe button, become part of my little Makeup with Meg family. Come join my little YouTube family by hitting subscribe. Thank you guys once again for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye. It's like fallen on my top lip. I look like I've got a green moustache. To reflect. Can't speak. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It's falling. Oh, it's an absolutely beautiful page. I can't speak today. Just listen to me.